This is every single fight to make after UFC 279, Diaz versus Ferguson. I've got all of the key fighters from that card on the screen right now. Some winners, some losers, and you may notice there is an empty box next to all of them, and that's where their next opponent's going to go, who I have hidden around the perimeter of the screen. I'll slowly reveal those opponents one by one as the video goes on and place them where they belong on the screen. Let's start straight away with the main event, Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Ideally, I don't want to see Tony Ferguson fight again anyway, but I'm going to match him up with someone, and I'm going to match up Nate Diaz with someone as well, just for the purpose of the video. But Nate Diaz mentioned he wants to go to another sport, and he was sort of vague about what he wanted to do next, but I think we all kind of know what he's going to do next, just because of the money that's involved in this move that he could make. If Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz will fight Jake Paul. And I don't see anything else for Nate Diaz. Seriously. Name a boxer Nate Diaz is going to take on that's going to make a massive amount of money. He can't fight the biggest names in the sport that are actually legit top-level boxers, because that matchup would make no sense. So I feel like because of his vagueness about what he wanted to do, but the fact that he mentioned that he wanted to go over into boxing and take over another sport, I feel like he just wants to fight Jake Paul, because he knows for a fact that Jake Paul would pay him a lot of money to have that fight. And I do believe Nate Diaz believes he can beat Jake Paul. I think he knows he can take punches well, and maybe even box with Jake Paul, and maybe gas him out as the rounds go on. But maybe he'll see how Anderson Silva does before he decides to take that matchup. But Jake Paul is a man with a lot of money, and that's the big part about this. It's not really about if Jake Paul is willing to take on Nate Diaz, or are they able to make the matchup. Jake Paul's already got millions and millions of dollars. That's something people don't consider. He's not like, I need to fight to get paid. This is just extra to get him towards the billion area, because he's got that kind of like mindset in the world that he's in. So I feel as though Jake Paul, even if he loses to Anderson Silva, he'll fork out $3 million to get his name relevant again and have a chance at beating Nate Diaz. That's a good recovery path. And then beat someone else, and then get back to Anderson Silva in a rematch at another time. Like, he will plan it out like that. So I feel as though Nate Diaz knows this, and they've definitely had some discussions behind the scenes. Do I want to see this matchup? No, because I feel like Jake Paul would beat Nate Diaz in a boxing match, especially if he can get past Anderson Silva as well. However, Nate Diaz knows Jake Paul will probably be willing to pay him a couple million for a boxing match. Nate has a chance of not getting KO'd. I think he believes that in himself more than anything. Like, okay, I might lose, but I'm not going to get KO'd and embarrassed. Like, I think Nate Diaz is wise enough to know that he could lose to Jake Paul, but still believes in his chin enough to know that he probably won't be KO'd and humiliated. So, 8 rounds of boxing against Jake Paul that you might lose for $3 million, $4 million, it's worth it for Nate. Moving on. Tony Ferguson. I don't want to see him fight anyone, but for the purpose of the video making sense, if he's going to fight anyone, let it be Nick Diaz. I would say they're going to do, I think Nick Diaz has 2 more fights left on his contract or something like that. So maybe Nick's going to want to try and sort of like work his way out of the contract. And then maybe we could even see in some weird world a Nick Diaz Anderson Silva boxing match, which would be a crazy thing that could make a lot of money. Maybe they could even do it on the undercard of Nate's card or something like that. Who knows where the Diaz brothers are going to go? If Nick Diaz can get out of his contract as well, we could have some real fun. So Tony Ferguson, Nick Diaz, I think it's actually a winnable fight for Nick Diaz based on how Tony Ferguson looks in his last fight. I think he's done. Ferguson has no testosterone left in his body. His brain's all scrambled. He has no idea what's going on. And he feels like he's just beginning. So I feel like we should put him against Nick Diaz. Maybe we could do like a Nick Diaz versus Matt Brown end of this year. And then the winner of that can take on Tony Ferguson. That would be alright. I don't want to see Tony against anyone in any way in their prime. They will destroy him. Let's just do Tony Ferguson versus Nick Diaz, if anything. Or Ferguson versus no one, in all honesty, and retire because he's taken so much damage. But we move on to the co-main event. Khamzat Chimaev was victorious against Kevin Holland. He took no damage. And there's a welterweight on the roster that is looking for a title shot right now. And if he knows that he can get a title shot by just fighting one more time and beating one more guy, he's going to take that gamble, I do believe. And Dana White said this fighter wants to fight this year and wants to stay active. So what I'm saying you do is, Darren Till is on the December card, one of the Smash Bros. You also apply to that card Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. Make it happen. Make it happen. If there's an ABC card in January, do this as the ABC main event because this will have so many eyes on it. 5 rounds main event, Chimaev versus Covington, and then it would work out time-wise because you could do that in January, and then Usman versus Edwards 3, the trilogy, would take place in February, and it would sort of work out schedule-wise. Forget about Bilal Muhammad and Sean Brady, who cares? Khamzat Chimaev, Colby Covington, make it happen, December, January. ABC main event in January, which they always do, I feel like, nowadays, in the first few weeks of the year. They did it for Holloway versus Cater, and I believe they did it for Cater versus Chikedzi as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, let's get it done on ABC. Chimaev, Covington, or pay-per-view main card of the end of the year pay-per-view in December. Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington, please. I want to see that matchup. It's perfect to make, and it just generates so much attention. We need it now. Heel on heel, and if Chimaev can beat Covington like he's beaten some of these other guys, then it's going to be a crazy time to be a Chimaev fan because he'll probably do it to everyone. And if he has a great scrap with Covington and Covington gets a bunch of respect, and Covington might be able to get an upset. I don't believe he will, but he might be able to get an upset. Look at how Gilbert Burns did compared to other guys. So maybe there is that different level at the top of the welterweight division. Let's find out. Chimaev, Covington, go. While Covington's still close to his prime. I don't want to see him end up like Ferguson or Nate Diaz. Moving on. Kevin Holland lost in the co-main event. However, he didn't really lose much stock. People are going to love Kevin Holland no matter what. And also, Kevin Holland took no damage. So in Kevin Holland's weird mind, he's absolutely fine with this. There is a man in the UFC welterweight division that as soon as Kevin Holland announced that he wanted to fight in the UFC welterweight division, I have wanted to see Kevin Holland fight in the welterweight division. That man has been gone for a long time, and I have no idea why. He must be so ready for a fight right now, if any time. Kevin Holland versus Nico Price. 1 rebound for Kevin Holland. Get him in there with Neil Magny afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Holland, Nico Price. Make it happen in December. And then next year, we can start plotting a new move to the top of the welterweight division for Kevin Holland. Get it done. Please, I beg of you, UFC. It's a great matchup, and I think it will be absolute fireworks. And it's a Kevin Holland type matchup as well. So he can go on the main card of a pay-per-view. I don't think Holland's ready for another main card of a pay-per-view right now because there are so many big names right now in the sport that you can put in those positions that are way higher up the rankings. He's unranked, so what I'm thinking is great main event of a fight night, co-main event, Kevin Holland, Nico Price, maybe a feature fight even. That sounds good to me. Maybe the headliner of a prelims of a pay-per-view as well. That would also be good. So get that done in December. Holland took no damage. Get it done. Moving on. Li Jingliang won against Daniel Rodriguez, which is why he's over here on the winner's side. And in order to reward Li Jingliang for his big win against Daniel Rodriguez, because he won with a 10-pound weight disadvantage, we give him Vicente Luque. A matchup I've always wanted to see in the welterweight division. Vicente Luque, I picked him to lose to Jeff Neal. I picked him to lose to Bilal Muhammad. He's had a tough time against those top contenders in the welterweight division. So I feel like this is actually a great style matchup for Vicente Luque. They both scrap it out on the feet. There's no takedowns for Luque to worry about. Li Jingliang's got a good level of power, but he doesn't swing it like Jeff Neal does. Jingliang loops big hooks. So I feel like this is a great matchup to get the best out of both of these guys because they're both going to sit in the pocket and trade hooks back and forth, whereas Jeff Neal will stick and move with straight shots and move around on the outside and stuff. So I want to see Li Jingliang versus Vicente Luque, co-main event of a fight night, maybe headliner of the prelims of a pay-per-view, a weaker pay-per-view, maybe the main card of a pay-per-view, or even UFC China, fight night in China. Who knows what they're going to do? Put Zhang Weili in the main event. If she wins a belt, like I know they're going to go back to China at some point in 2023. Maybe they can do Li Jingliang versus Vicente Luque on that card in the co-main event of like a title fight night card. Maybe we'll see what they do. Or maybe they'll just do Yan Xiaonan, the other Chinese fighter in the strawweight division. Maybe put her in the main event and then do these two in the co-main. But Li Jingliang deserves a reward for how wronged he has been. So let's do Li Jingliang versus Vicente Luque. And in all honesty, it would be number 10 versus number 16 if Li Jingliang gets removed from the rankings. So it would actually make some level of sense. Daniel Rodriguez lost his fight against Vicente Luque, but you know what? I'm feeling generous. Let's move him up the rankings. Against Michael Chiesa, Daniel Rodriguez is kind of known as the anti-grappler. He does well against people trying to take him down. That's his best move. He's got really good takedown defense, really good patience on the ground. And Michael Chiesa hasn't fought in a while, and I'm sure he's looking to get back in there. And honestly, D-Rod is a winnable matchup for him. Maybe he has that next level of grappling that is good enough to beat the likes of Daniel Rodriguez. And Daniel Rodriguez, this is a winnable fight for him as well. Chiesa might not be taking the fight game as seriously anymore. This is a jump up for Daniel Rodriguez. I was going to put Neil Magny's name in here, but I feel like Magny's going to be looking to fight real soon against some other up-and-comer in the welterweight division. So, if they're going to do Magny fighting soon, I doubt Chiesa's ready to go anytime soon. So, let's just give him enough time to prepare and do Daniel Rodriguez versus Michael Chiesa to move D-Rod up the rankings if he wins, and maybe even get a win for Michael Chiesa if he can beat Daniel Rodriguez. So, let's get it done. D-Rod's 35. Hurry up the movement up the rankings, I would say. Moving on to another fight up the card or down the card. Irene Aldana got a big win with a liver kick KO in an up kick position. Craziness. Never seen before. She beat Macy Chiasson. People are saying title shot. I'm saying no. The longer we can starve these bantamweight contenders that no one really cares about from a title shot, the better it is for the sport. So I say put Irene Aldana versus Ketlen Vieira. The rematch, they fought each other in 2019, I want to say it was. And Irene Aldana beat her by KO in the first round. Who knows if it goes that way again. But I would love to see a rematch between the pair of them. And we could do this, not in if I'm sad I've made this matchup, because I know they'll put this as a fight night main event. If Grasso versus Araujo is a fight night main event, Aldana versus Vieira is as well. But I'm thinking Brazil card in January, prelim headliner, Irene Aldana, Ketlen Vieira. Give it a little bit of a spotlight there. Maybe even put it in that 4th spot on the main card, depending on how stacked that card is. And let's get that fight made while Nunes fights Shevchenko in the trilogy. That's a perfect fight to stall up both divisions to help build a bigger name of a contender. Aldana, Ketlen Vieira too. And Vieira's above Aldana in the rankings, even though Aldana beat her because she beat Holly Holm, whereas Aldana lost to Holly Holm. So we need to sort out those rankings. You know what I'm saying? Moving on, Johnny Walker got a big win over Jan Cutelaba. I was thinking about moving him way up the rankings against like Paul Craig or even the winner of Dominic Reyes, Ryan Spann, because he has a win over Ryan Spann. If Spann wins, then you could try and do that rematch. But Jan Cutelaba should not have been getting a fight against Johnny Walker. I know I picked him to win, and he was the favourite, but he should not be getting a fight against Johnny Walker, really. Let's be real. He shouldn't get a fight because he'd already lost outside the rankings. Why is he now getting a ranked opponent? It didn't really make any sense. So I feel like Johnny Walker, he snapped his losing streak. Let's take it slow and let's give him another guy that's on the come up. And I believe that guy should be Dustin Jacoby, who has a fight coming up against Khalil Roundtree for some random reason. And if Khalil Roundtree beats him, then we can do Johnny Walker versus Khalil Roundtree too, which is another rematch. Johnny Walker beat him with elbows in the first round. So I'd like to see both of those matchups. Johnny Walker, Dustin Jacoby, great matchup. I reckon Jacoby will beat Khalil Roundtree by decision. And if he does, he deserves a ranked opponent finally. He already does. He shouldn't even have to fight Khalil Roundtree. But if they're going to do it, if he wins, let's do him versus Johnny Walker. Then the winner of that one can start looking towards the top 10 of the light heavyweight division. Moving on to another fight that took place. Jailton Almeida beat Anton Turkalj in a dominant performance. He took no damage. So I'm saying, hey, Brazil card in January, 4 months from now. It just makes all the sense in the world to put this guy on the prelims of that. And to put him against an opponent that he was scheduled to fight before. Shamil Abdurakhimov. Jailton Almeida is a 31-year-old, so I don't know when he's going to be 32, but I'm assuming it's going to be sometime soon. So let's rush this guy up the rankings. We've got some hype behind this prospect. He's Brazilian. Let's do him versus Shamil Abdurakhimov on the prelims of a Brazil card. Shamil can grapple as well. I know he got out-grappled by Curtis Blades, but he's got a grappling base. So I feel like he should be able to kind of hold his own. And if he can't, then Jailton Almeida's for real. And we can get him into the rankings of the heavyweight division. Jailton Almeida, Shamil Abdurakhimov on the Brazil card. Open up the prelims with them two. And that Brazil card should be a great time. You can even put Johnny Walker versus Dustin Jacoby on the Brazil card, main card opener. In all honesty. That Brazil card's got a lot of potential. We'll see what they do with it. But these are the matchups I want to see. Of course, I'd rather Tony Ferguson fight no one, but here I am matching him up against Nick Diaz. But these are the matchups, man. I feel like these ones make sense. Reward Li Jingliang for being robbed. Still kind of reward D-Rod by giving him a ranked opponent and allowing him to move forward in his own career. Give Kevin Holland a little bit of a step back to propel him forward once again, but against a known name that's quite marketable in Nico Price. And then Khamzat Chimaev, Colby Covington. Sign me up. I don't want to see Nate Diaz, Jake Paul, because I think Nate's going to lose, but I think that's what they're going to do. So that's how I feel about it. But I think this is perfect. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.